assurance you are not alone.
Hi guys, good afternoon. Welcome to Gist with Rex, where we'll speak on real life issues and give our perspective on them. Today we'll be discussing about your traffic experience. I'm sure you're itching to hear what we have to say. So I'm going to start with you, Wilson.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And then I have Yinka.
Afternoon.
And then I have Emmanuel.
Good afternoon.
So demure. Alright, so Wilson, can you tell us, just give us an experience of your traffic? I know you drive, like we're driving in Lagos or Abuja. Lagos predominantly. So what has been your experience driving in Lagos?
Every once in a while you get that road rage where somebody either cuts into you or does one. You can't but notice what happens when you're driving in Lagos. Either somebody cuts in front of you, or as they say, shunts in your front, or a bus driver suddenly stops. And at that point in time, there are two things. What is most likely often at the back of your mind is to curse the person. So it takes a conscious effort not to want to curse that person. Many times you curse inside yourself, you don't say it out, especially when there are other people in the car with you. But if I'm alone, what's wrong with this useless driver? What? Then I just calm down. And most likely I'm listening to music. So the music at that point in time just takes over and I'm calm. That is my experience. I don't know what other people have to say.
They tell you that the traffic experience will test your faith. You understand? When Jesus say, and then you are at the verge of insulting them, like, God bless you. God bless you, sir.
That would be hard for me to say.
Man.
Honestly.
But you know, in Lagos, at times, you actually wonder if some people are alright enough to drive. So I had this funny experience. Somebody was facing one way, got me at the corner, facing me one way. And I was looking at the person, this is one way. Then the guy started cursing me. And after I thought about it, I just started laughing because it didn't add up. You were facing one way, you are in the wrong, and you are the one claiming that you are right, and you're really very vocal about it. But as the year goes by, I realized that occasionally some Lagos driver needs some, according to government, psychiatric evaluation.
Yes. Because
the thinking process really needs to be looked at. So I made up my mind anytime I'm driving, once I get to the steering, I take a deep breath, and I tell myself, nobody today is going to stress me. So if you shunt in front of me, I'll let you go. If you want too much, I'll slow down for you to pass. And I realize if I drive like that, I don't go home or get home stressed. But if I want to drive the way they drive in Lagos, by the time you get home, you have gone through a lot of mental, emotional upheaval that it's even harder on your body and your emotions driving than the work you went to do. And I realize, and Lagos people will not change. And so you have to have a superior mindset, which I had to discover because I found before, when you finish driving, you get home, you're slightly angry. If you're not careful. And the people at home that are waiting for you, if you're not so very careful, you take the anger on them because you went through a stress.
Transfer aggression.
Transfer aggression. So for me, you must not learn to distress yourself when you drive in Lagos and enjoy the drive, not enjoy the people. Because the people are not enjoying, but they enjoy your drive.
Have you ever been in traffic? The person is taking the wrong way and is doing hand for you like this.
Oh yes, you see those ones.
They're doing like this. But I'm like,
you see that?
I am on my lane.
You see them a lot, especially the Okada men when they are following.
They're doing like this.
Then the passenger at the back is the one telling you, move.
It's very annoying. But Emmanuel.
Yeah, so there's a misconception about Lagos. So you guys call it Lagos traffic. It's actually not just Lagos. Have you been to Ibadan? So Lagos drivers, as insane as they are perceived to be, they are still learning compared to Ibadan drivers. So you see someone driving and his hand is the trafficator. He has outside his car doing like this and expects you to get the message. Immediately you try to get ahead of him, he starts cursing you out. You know, see my hand, and it's just a general Nigerian problem, honestly. It's a general Nigerian problem. And bringing it back to Lagos, I think it's worse on the mainland. I stand to be corrected. I think it's worse on the mainland, with the with the old downfall, last mile.
If you ask me personally, I think it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Because I might
The
live on.
slow lane, we avoid it.
Yes.
Because
That's where
the
the
buses
buses
just stop abruptly.
The corrupt just
That's their lane.
So we then stay on the fast lane, driving slow. Because you don't want to stay in the middle, because you can lose the lane. And then you be angry at the person. Why you drive like that? And why are they collect this lane? You've not seen you're on a lane. Then they collect the lane from you. Then you're begging to enter.
Yeah, especially when everybody's converting.
Yes.
So what your man said is right. So I live on the mainland. I drove to the far Lekki side recently, and I realized that I had to be conscious of where I am.
Yes.
It was not as a relaxing drive as I'm used to. Because on top of the bridge, I have my lane. So I know that every time we approach a T-junction, if I'm not careful, I find myself where I didn't plan to be.
Yes.
Because people just drive. And that level of mental awareness is a bit stressful.
It is.
Because, to be sincere, the road is terrible, but...
You know, what I've found to be the problem is that most people didn't actually go through the driving school. Yeah. And so they don't even know the rules to drive.
We use island driving.
Yeah, you just
say
observe
matcham.
somebody, you are the boss, observe the driver.
And one
So
thing
they
you should
don't-
also know that a lot of people in Lagos and Nigeria, because your driver's license is a means of identification.
Yeah.
People actually have driver's license and they don't have to, and they don't even have a car. They have, for them it's just a means of identification.
Yeah.
So when you say, I meet that person tomorrow, he's actually looking for a job. Do you have driver's license? Yes. But the guy enters behind his wheel and he cannot drive a car. I've interviewed drivers who, once we left my house and got to the gate of my estate, I told the man, just come down. I will take over. I mean, that's happened to me like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, you cannot drive. You say you're a driver. You're a professional driver. You're driving for years. 7 o'clock, you cannot see the road. You don't know which lane you're on. I mean, this happened recently. We come back from the market and we didn't know. The driver was in the middle of 3 lanes. Which lane are you on? Bus lane? No. This lane? So it was a mess. Eventually we have to let the driver go, but that is just how crazy it is in Lagos.
So, I think there's a value problem also, which is not only are a lot of people are ignorant of traffic rules.
Yeah.
And traffic rules are actually there to keep us safe from cleaning ourselves.
Yeah.
And when driving originally started, motoring, there wasn't traffic rules. But when accident increased, they started coming up with, and these rules are actually there to keep people safe. And most Nigerian drivers think these rules are limiting them. These rules are actually there to keep us. And most people don't have that mindset, number one.
They don't.
Number two is, a lot of people did not go through driving school.
Yeah.
They didn't take the test, so they don't even know the rules. And some people know the rules,
But they
don't care.
They still want to break them.
Yeah,
like when just to follow up what you said, when they recently opened the terminal bridge, and the federal government announced that there was a speed limit of 80. I used to drive that bridge almost when we were based on the mainland. And when I'm on 80, it's like I'm the only one that was observing this limit. Everybody else was doing above 80. So what exactly is what?
When my driver started doing it, even me, I'm like, what's wrong? You just told me your guy is 80.
What you said about you said number 2, you stopped at number 2. Yeah, I think the number 3 is that there's no enforcement. So it's not enough to make the rules. You put a speed limit of 80 kilometers per hour on Third Mainland Bridge. I think the government then needs to enforce these things, because people in Lagos, I've observed this in Nigeria. People obey rules either out of faith, they know the value of these rules, or out of fear, when they know that there's a long stick at the other end and they don't want to be, so they kind of just align. So I think the government needs to do more in enforcing these laws.
Government has just started. There are now cameras on top of Third Mainland Bridge, and they are about a space of 1 kilometer each.
But do we know if they've caught someone?
No. So they are in pilot. No, they are in pilot.
No, but
they told us they've not yet activated.
What normally happens, just like
but when you want to renew, so it's at
the point of renew.
When you want to renew,
it's retroactive. When you want to renew, that they will they have a fine of something.
But normally VIS will send you a text message.
Yes, they do.
For insurance, I know they do that.
Yeah, for insurance, if your insurance has expired, they will tell you that.
But I don't know about camera self.
I don't know about.
Where do you take this picture from? Hello.
No, that's why they use camera. It's image recognition.
But I have a question. In Lagos, you say Owa, Umbole. How do you say that in your language?
I have no idea.
How do you say that in your language?
I have no idea.
I know in Benin, all they do is
I won't come down.
I they come down. I'm not certain of that.
Yeah, I'm not
certain.
staying in the East.
Okay, so for me, when I went to the East, because I haven't really lived in the East, but when I went to the East, I entered the bus. I wanted to come down. I knew my bus stop. It was getting close, but as I opened my mouth, I wanted to say, "Oh wow!" But I kept quiet. I said, "This is the East." I didn't. I was then someone who was like 2 bus stops away from me. I said, Ogapu. I said, oh, that's what they say. And then when I got, I said, Ogapu. You know. So it's funny how Owa, if you take that out of Lagos, you are likely to say Owa when you get to other states.
Yeah.
But have you driven in the north before?
No.
Have you driven in the north?
So it's
Oh my
almost
God.
as if there are no rules in the north.
Oh my God.
I drove in Abuja and in some parts of Kano, and it's almost as if the rules we have,
See.
you know, as
But funny enough, but now they have their own last man, all those things in the north.
yeah, every state is beginning to adopt.
So
The road.
I don't know about the road, but if you do break any law, I know they go after them. So
It's
you see them a lot.
smooth. That's the road.
What?
And it's wide.
The road.
The northern road.
Mm-hmm.
You will not know when you are on 150
Speeding.
or 120. That's how it's like this.
Oh, so they can take the road to heaven.
I'm telling you.
And they do take the road to heaven. That's why their accidents are very fatal.
Yeah, but you know, in the north, the factors that affect road in the south doesn't exist that much.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have too much rain, you don't have erosion rain at the road. Usage is optimal, not overcrowded.
Yeah.
A typical Lagos road is overcrowded. So Lagos road should not be done with asphalt. Should be done with
Yeah, so that speaks to
Which is what the government.
building
which government are trying to
roads according to
Because-
But
peculiarities.
bringing up this hope, there's something all of you mentioned about enforcement and all those things. What's your take on all this third-party enforcement thing? And I've had an instance where somebody called me and said he had a comprehensive insurance. And he was stopped by the police, and the police said they didn't know what was comprehensive insurance. That what the law tells them is third party.
Yes.
So it took him a while to explain to the policeman that this comprehensive I have is even more, is a higher level
Yeah.
than the third party.
I think it boils down to education and a lot of awareness campaign to tell people
By who? The insurance company or the insurance industry? Or both parties? Or
na
everybody?
collabo.
Okay.
Is that how they say it?
Yes.
So the insurance industry, the enforcement agency,
Which is the Nigerian police.
which is Nigerian police,
Nigerian police, road
Road safety.
VIO.
the ones in Lagos, outside Lagos, all the enforcers.
I think we are dealing with this wrongly.
Okay.
A typical person that gets third party in their own, what they are getting is police let me go.
Yes.
Yes.
In their mind, they are not getting insurance.
Yes.
So that's the reorientation
So if, for example,
about the value.
if somebody, a doubtful guy hits my car, I came down, I look at the scratch, I say, okay, give me your car papers,
Why not?
your insurance. And this man said he doesn't have insurance.
Does he even have driver's license?
I was ready to go after him. The people in the car, the boss started begging me.
Which is typical.
Which is
Leave him now, big man now, leave him
there was
now.
a second instance where somebody hit another car, and that car hit mine. The guy in the middle has third-party insurance, which I scanned. But the guy that caused the accident did not have anything. So he says it's expired for like 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
Now, there's a joke I used to make with someone close to me, and I used to say, when you see people fighting in traffic because they hit each other,
Yeah.
they don't have insurance.
They don't. Very
Why will I fight you?
If I have insurance, if I have a fallback plan.
If I have comprehensive and you hit me, I'm covered. If I hit you and I have third party, I don't need to shout. All I need to do is you scan take the picture of my insurance. I give you a card that is signed with a note. Take the pictures and then we share it.
Yeah.
Which is what matured people should do. But I promise you, this is the way you are going home. You see people in traffic coming out of the car because somebody, and they are showing some form of WrestleMania 2.0. You know, ruffling each other up, shouting, and I begin to wonder, with all our exposure in Lagos, and I'm going to outgrow that kind of drama.
But now you brought up a very valid perspective. What has been your worst road accident experience? You know, when someone hits another person and the ripple effect. where you see people, just two adults, they park in the middle, and then they forget that the rest of us, we don't have anything to do with your problem. Have you ever experienced crazy?
Yeah, I experienced one. So one day I was being driven, so my driver hit somebody, and this woman went ballistic. And she went ballistic on my driver. And the driver I had then was a much older gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that very offensive because the guy was even much older than. So I had to calm her down. I had to de-escalate. Mm. Yeah, she took snipe, but I knew there's no use. Then I asked her, this is a lease car, it's a company car, it's insured. Do you want us to give you so that insurance will pay? She said no. So what do you want? She wants us to pay for the damage now. Okay, I said, call your mechanic and give us the cost. Funny that day I didn't have money on me. And I'm not kidding. It was that, 20-something close to, that 20-something close to
2000.
Yeah. So I just finally, she got her driver, the mechanic rather gave her a cost. So I called someone in my office to just loan me the money. The guy transferred me the money. I transferred the money. After that, she now asked you, are you a Christian? I was like, because God gave me grace that it to be sincere, because me too, I once in a while, you come after me, I come after you. But that day, I was just like, no, we're not going to do this today. Because really, I just don't think traffic rage stops anything.
Yeah.
And people, one day somebody will mistakenly kill somebody in a traffic rage. You punch somebody that has high blood pressure, you slap someone that has high blood pressure. Yeah. Is that your slap that will now trigger something? And I've always wondered that, let's not just get into trouble because even if you are shouting with someone and they just shout and the person just slump, you will not be guiltless.
No.
At least you spend like 3 weeks in the cell before they do autopsy and they say that it's not you.
Mm-hmm. So there's no point, there's no need getting into all that.
No,
just make sure you have your papers.
Yeah.
Make sure you have the law says your vehicle license, your driver's license, your roadworthiness, and your car insurance. At the very least, your third party.
Yes.
Once you have that, you are good to go.
But again, I think it's also important for people to learn to verify their
document. Yes.
Especially the insurance, the third party.
Yes.
And how they do that is going on asknid.org.
Yeah. Or there's also the NICOM portal.
NICOM portal for you to verify that your third party motor insurance is genuine. And if it's not, collect your money. Yeah. So final thoughts, guys, on our topic today. Manuel. Road rage.
I just think it's a way. It's a smarter way to live. You get, like you said, it's needless when you find yourself in a small accident and then next thing you roll up your sleeves and you start throwing punches. I see that a lot. I once saw 2 gentlemen, one was on suit and tie, so you can tell he's just coming back from work or something. I was on my way home. And then something happened, and the next thing I knew he was even the aggressor, the gentleman with the tie. And he was throwing punch, and it was just a very terrible sight. We see these things all the time. And sometimes I think, aside from the fact that people have not been able to put their emotions in check, I think it's the lack of understanding on how to live smarter. When you have insurance, when I know that my risk has been transferred to some other company, I know that, okay, I'm on the road, you bash me, my headlight is 500,000, you break it, I just have to put a call through to this guy, so come and pay. That just puts my mind at ease. Yeah. You get, so I think
you give a totally different mindset.
Yeah, you have a totally different mindset. You don't have to worry, you worry less.
Yeah.
You drive better, as a matter of fact.
Right.
You drive better. So I think people need to know what insurance is. I've spoken with a few people and some of them have actually been disappointed in the past. And their reasons and fears are legitimate. They've had bad experiences. But you can't, because of one bad experience, give up on the whole process. So I always encourage people, live smarter. We are in the era of smart living. We have smartphones, smart homes, smart this, smart that. So
live smarter. One kick take away.
So like I used to tell people, if you bash my car, you didn't bash my car. you bash the car of my underwriter, the insurance company. They will take that car and give me my own that does not have bashing. So you don't have that stress mindset. And you should make sure as someone that live in an high stress city like Lagos, that driving doesn't even increase your mental health stress.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that driving in Lagos can be a major cause where people have high blood pressure, mental health stress. You have to bring yourself to a place and do whatever you need to do to make sure driving does not contribute to your ill well-being. It must contribute to your well-being. And that may increase whether you drive less, whether you insure your car to the point that you have a peace of mind, whether when you get on your steering, you play music to make sure nobody can trigger you and you cannot be triggered. Just find a way to make driving more pleasurable for yourself and not get it something that make you more tense and more aggressive.
Make driving more pleasurable. So for me, I made up my mind a long time ago not to fight on the road. If you want to overtake, the whole road is yours. Please go ahead. Because I realize, especially in the morning, how you start your day. I realize when I give in to that aggression, my whole day is messed up. I get to the office, I'm angry.
Yeah, you be angry.
And then I'm on the edge. So I told myself, if 15 vehicles want to overtake, if I'm too slow, leave my back, move forward. Yes, if I'm too slow, leave my back, move forward. There's space to the left because I always stay on the right, close to the covert. So if you hit me, you found my trouble because I just stay very close to the median. Yeah. And one thing I'll tell people is educate yourself on insurance. We have a lot of materials that tells you what your third party covers. I mean, you can hit somebody and insurance is willing to cover you up to 3 million naira. You can, in the course of the accident,
So by the way, I don't go and hit a Tesla.
Don't. It's 3 million will give you naira, not dollars, please. And then if there's bodily injuries, say someone gets injured, there is provision for that.
Yeah, for medical expense.
For medical expense,
People need to know what you just said. So I know someone that had a terrible experience. She unfortunately killed someone on the highway. Now that's another conversation because I think that part of the road has this overhead bridge, and
person just entered.
they are big to cross. She hit the person and she stopped. And then you know how Lagos is now. You hit someone, whether the person runs into the road or you hit the person, it's your fault. People came down hard on her and they started milking her. So she had third party at the time and she didn't realize that her third party also covered that
Yes,
situation.
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Milked her. She had to sell that car eventually to offset the debt that she had.
Not even human beings. If you run into a shop or run into an object, that also covers.
So
and please, people, don't cross the road when the light is green.
If there's overhead bridge,
If there's overhead
please
bridge,
use it.
use
Your life
it.
is more
That's what
valuable.
it's meant for.
Thank you, Wilson.
I think one key thing for me is insurance education. Now, you might be aware about insurance, but you're not educated about the benefits of insurance. And that's something that we as Nigerians need to take more seriously. We need to know what insurance is going to do for you, what protection it offers you, what leverage it gives you. The example you cited, ideally that woman shouldn't even have been held liable because that person that's crossing under the bridge where there's a overhead bridge provision,
Yes.
that person is at fault,
It's at
not
fault.
the lady that hit her. So I mean, those are things that because she's not aware, she was taken advantage of. Yeah. So it's important that we should take insurance education seriously. That's my final tip. And please, as we've all said, drive safe, drive smart, and whatever you need to do to make yourself live happy and live better and drive saner, please do.
Especially in Lagos.
Yes.
Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much, Wilson, Emmanuel, Yinka. I hope you took 1 or 2 lessons. You can go back again to watch it. Come with your writing pad and
To
jot
jot
down.
things- jot
Very
things down.
important things were said. Until next time, remain yours faithfully, Gist with Rex. See you next time.
Rex Insurance. You are not alone.